Welcome back to the Daily Northwestern Lacrosse Roundtable. I'm sports editor Robbie Levin, along with lacrosse beat writer Brian Chappatta. It's a very exciting time of the year for the lacrosse team. Northwestern won its first round game, 19-7 over Notre Dame this past weekend, and they prepared to face Duke this Saturday at 1 o'clock at Lakeside Field. So, Brian, looking back at Northwestern's win over Notre Dame, I know they had beaten Notre Dame 15-5 earlier in the season, but how'd they do it this time?
Well, it was kind of more of the same, although this time Katrina Dowd who was held in check during the regular season, really broke out and showed why she's a Tewaaraton Award finalist. She had 5 goals and 3 assists, to lead the Cats as she has really all season. And also, you got Shannon Smith in there scoring 4 goals and 4 assists. Those two really were on. They were passing to each other by the crease, and they seemed to be doing everything right. And then once you throw in the freshman Erin Fitzgerald, who sort of came into her own, scoring 3 goals and 1 assist in the NCAA opener, it was just too much for Notre Dame to handle.
You mentioned Erin Fitzgerald, and Amonte Hiller has talked this entire season about finding that fourth option to complement Smith, Spencer, and Dowd. So how important is Erin Fitzgerald this weekend and then going forward?
I think that, I don't know if Erin Fitzgerald is necessarily the fourth option, but they need to have one of their players step up. Besides the Shannon Smiths, the Katrina Dowd, and Danielle Spencer, this time it was Fitzgerald, but it could be Brooke Matthews, who, as we approach Duke, had 5 goals, her season high against the Blue Devils earlier in the season, or it could be Alex Frank. They just need one other option, because as they get further into the NCAA tournament against Duke, against maybe North Carolina, against maybe Maryland, those teams are going to have defenders that can not just shut down Katrina Dowd, but also maybe shut down Shannon Smith and Danielle Spencer.
Speaking of Duke, Northwestern has already beaten Duke once this year. The Blue Devils scraped by Vanderbilt, beating them on a last-second goal last week. But looking at this Duke matchup, what kind of stands out to you? What do you remember from the last time the two teams faced off, and what does Northwestern have to do to make it to Towson?
Well, first of all, I was surprised that that Vanderbilt gave Duke such a run for its money, because I thought that after seeing the way that Northwestern was able to take care of Vanderbilt twice this season, I thought that Duke would be able to handle them pretty easily as well. But it was a tight contest. As for when they faced them in the regular season, like I mentioned, Brooke Matthews had 5 goals against the Blue Devils in Durham, which was obviously her best statistical performance of the season. And Alex Frank also had 3 goals. So those two combined for 8 goals. I mean, Dowd still had her usual 4 and 2, but those two were really able to step up and carry them and to get that 5 goal margin. And like I mentioned, when you have a team like Duke that's able to sort of contain Shannon Smith and Danielle Spencer to 2 goals apiece, and it becomes a high-scoring affair, Northwestern needs those additional options in order to be able to compete and to be able to move on. And as for if I think they will, I do think that they're going to be able to defeat Duke. I predicted last week correctly that that Northwestern would beat Notre Dame by more than 10 goals, which was their regular season margin. Do I think that Northwestern is going to beat Duke by more than 5 goals? I think that they will, just because of the home field advantage, and I think that Northwestern is really gaining a lot of momentum on the offensive and the defensive end. They've been gelling really well, and their passing has just been better than I've seen all season long. So I wouldn't be surprised if Northwestern was able to pull out a 7-goal victory against Duke on Saturday.
Great. Well, you heard it here. Check back next week to see if Brian's prediction held up and if Northwestern was able to win by 5 or more goals. But as always, keep it at the Daily Northwestern, dailynorthwestern.com for all your lacrosse coverage, especially this weekend for Northwestern's game against Duke. Once again, for Brian Chappatta, I've been Robbie Levin. Thanks for watching.